Welcome back, people. It's Beyond the Surface, and we got another episode for y'all. This episode, we're going to get into another deep one, man, because you know what the show is called? It's Beyond the Surface. We get into the nitty gritty.
Yep, the real deep issues, real deep problems and solutions, I guess we should say.
Yeah, just, a little bit of what I've been going through and what everybody goes through. A little bit after college, and I'm sure you can relate to, is finding a job, career after you went to school and you did all this studying, you put all them late nights in, and you want to take it somewhere in your career. So I just want to get into a little bit about what that entails and the struggles, because I've noticed that a lot of people in this generation now, it's not like you're guaranteed to get a job in your field after you graduate. It's a lot harder to, because of the competition and things like that. So, I wanted to dive in a little bit and, tell me a little bit about your experience, like after you graduated. And
so it was a little different for me because I started working at Target and I thought like, oh yeah, I'll become a manager there and I'll like move up in here, like, because I had no plan after college. Originally, what I wanted to be was a teacher, so I had that like lined out. But once I got to college, I was like, actually, do I want to be a teacher? Because they rolled out lessons plans and all this different stuff that I wasn't like very comfortable with at the time. So I switched gears and I tried to get a management and business administration degree. So the most basic degree, like get into anything you can, which helps. But then again, you have to narrow down your focus. And what I believe is happening for a lot of people, like myself, is either they can't narrow down their focus, or if they do, they're hyper focused on a specific career or job that they want, and they have to wait for that to open,
Yeah.
Like a lot of these people in these positions are gonna sit on them, you know what I mean? Like if you're in a good job and you're not really like too strenuous as far as stress or like workload, you're gonna be like, all right, I'm just gonna stay here. Like, what's the point of retiring?
You get a little comfortable. It's like, man, I'm cool with just walking down stock and stuff. Man. I'm getting by, paying my bills, and I'm able to have fun too. But but eventually you gotta take that next step.
It's true, and that's basically what stopped me. Is like I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be able to like move up in this company, and I never really got the opportunity. And then I moved back to like here in Arizona because I started over there in Iowa. And when I moved back, I was like, do I really like to work at Target? And of course, one of my cousins was working as a server, and he was like, yeah, bro, I'm making bank. He's like, we'll get you in as a server job. And it was at Buffalo Wild Wings. I didn't get hired as a server, Leo. I got hired as a cook, man. They had me back there with all the sweaty dudes and I knew I did not want to do that. So I was back there 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I see that man cruising at like 2 to 4, and he's like, hey, yeah, man, I made enough in tips. I'm gonna go home. I'll see you later.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah. And me,
then they got you.
I'm over there smelling like fire grease and wings, sweating.
A little sweet and spicy with a hint of must.
Yeah, exactly. With a bunch of other sweaty people all rubbing up on you next to them hot fryers. No, bro. So I did that
you
for a
looking
little.
At them servers like, man, I'm gonna hold your food a little bit longer.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was sick, Leo. Sick, absolutely sick. But I mean, it was a learning experience. It got me realizing what I didn't want to do and what I wanted to do. So then I went back to Target, and I was like, all right, let me get back in here. I have experience, and of course, they must have smelled like the fire grease or something on me, because then they hired me for like the night crew. At that other location. So I was unloading trucks, breaking manual labor hardcore, and I was like, oh my goodness, like I don't want to do this either.
Right.
So yeah, it took me a little while until I finally was like, yeah, I'm gonna move back home. I moved back home, and luckily my mom gave me like a month, and she was like, all right, you got to figure it out. Like, start applying. She's like, I heard a couple different places that are good for you, like as far as like in the finance world. So I applied to all of them, and I literally got accepted to the first one that I got an interview for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so then I went there, and I went and I worked for them, and I've been in there ever since. Like started as a teller, to be honest, like not even utilizing my degree at all. So that's
I
basically
think
where I'm at.
the one of the biggest parts that I took away from you, you know, going in on it right now was the narrowing your focus, because a lot of times I think we just pick a degree that's interesting, sounds good, fun, or whatever, but like a lot of people don't think about combining both that with the opportunity, like what you can do after you get the degree, you know? And so, you know, one of the biggest reasons I was looking into it was why people don't get jobs in their field is because they haven't looked into how the competition is afterwards, or how
Correct.
that market is afterwards. You know, there might not be a lot of jobs even available.
Yep.
Even if there's not competition, there might, what mostly is going to be because the competition is taken up. So you just have to look at the availability of like jobs and things like that, like before you get the degree. And like for a little bit, I was saying like I wish I would have done that for a long time with my degree. Because I wasn't finding anything like at all. My degree is journalism.
Yeah.
So like there's people out here like, and if you want to be like Stephen A. Smith out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you gotta
get on the grind.
you gotta have like 5 internships in college or whatever. And it's like, I didn't.
Yeah, a lot of networking.
Yeah.
In that journalism degree,
Yeah.
I found a lot of, like, I have a couple other friends, the same thing. They just have to network. You have to reach out. You have to do that. Or you could be at a small radio station. Like one of my other friends he's the whole like sports section of a small radio station in Windham, not Nebraska. I was gonna say Windham, Nebraska. No, it's Minnesota. Shouts out to Polk again. That man runs that whole radio station, but he's also small radio station. Only one doing their social media. Only one doing. You have a lot more workload.
Yeah.
If you're willing to take that challenge, then you can grow from your career, but you'll start in weird places that you have to be comfortable with. You know
so
what I mean?
I would definitely say like look into the availability after you get your degree would be my like advice. Like if you go into business or you go into education, start looking at how the job market is for that, or do some research on what's it like. What do you have to do in order to get the job once you get out? Like I would tell myself, dude, you got to do some internships. You can't be out here just like going to these freshman parties, like every Saturday night, bro. Like apply to internship, like in between there. You know what I mean?
Do a little bit.
Yeah.
You get caught up in the college experience, though. You know what I mean? Because you get all this freedom away from, like, some people get away from your parents. You get around a bunch of other people your age that are in the same mindset, so you're kind of like, there are some that are outliers that are fully focused on only their degree, but then a majority are like, let's have a good time. This is the time to have it.
You're so excited,
but you want to do that.
Like you're so excited to get up out of your, like, you love living at home. Like from my experience, I did love living at home, and I like had great parents and everything like that. But like, you excited to get up out of there. You know what I mean? Like, do your thing, and once I look back on that, I'm like, I now appreciated the time that I spent living at home so much more.
Yeah,
bro, I was getting free meals, no bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But both experiences are absolutely necessary. You know what I mean? But anyways, back to the topic is just like, just do your research on whatever you want to go into, and then you know, after that, start developing. Like you said, networking is a huge thing.
Yeah, it's always about who you know or what you can get into, because you can even get into internships through degrees that aren't technically your own. So I'll use my mother as an example. She got an internship at IBM, and then her major was actually originally psychology. And she's made a switch because of the internship, and she went to a minor in computer science, I believe, and a major in psychology. She wanted to be a child psychologist originally, and that one internship changed her whole trajectory and path.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you never know what's out there once you actually get some like tangible experience outside of just the classroom too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, it's not easy to just navigate your 20s and what you want to do and where you want to go in life when you're early. But that's what we're here for in our 20s, is to figure it out. Like, but I don't know about you, but I'm 27, and like I feel like there is kind of like a clock there. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's good in thinking like that, but you don't want to overwhelm yourself in constantly thinking like that. So it's just finding a balance of like utilizing your time and knowing that we are here for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you fail, you know, it's okay. Like you're
still young.
Yeah, you're still young.
You still have time to reverse and pivot and figure yourself out. And I feel like the 20s is a time to be okay with making mistakes in that sense, like not choosing the correct career or not choosing the correct path initially, and allowing yourself to reverse, because you still have time to make a decision and realize what you can do. Because there's even a path to not even going to college. Like if you wanted to just go straight out of high school or get your GED, I found people that are successful just knowing what they want to do and following their dreams and giving it a chance. You know what I mean? Because you're young, you can always go back. Make sure you do go back if you really feel like that's an instrumental part of your like mindset or your ideas. But I feel like for young people, I get in the same mindset where you look at your peers and you think, oh yeah, I should be ahead more, or oh, I should be like, I feel like I'm ahead, but I'm not really. You know what I mean? And that's just going from where you're in school and everyone's doing the same thing, and then after you get out of like high school, it's no longer organization. Everybody's branching out to their own thing. Right. So everybody's gonna have their own pace, space and pace. So you want to not measure yourself on the person that's ahead of you, because a lot of times the person that's ahead of you is not gonna look back at you and say, oh yeah, look, I'm ahead of them. And vice versa, you're not gonna look back and realize, oh yeah, I'm ahead of some other of my peers.
Right.
And
yeah, in reality, it's not like that. Like nobody's looking at you like, oh, he needs to do more. Or a lot of times, if you're focused on what other people are doing, like they're not that focused on us.
It's not really that deep for them or yourself. A lot of times, it's a self-conscious feeling, and you just gotta take a step back and realize, man, I'm okay. I'm sick. I got food. I got the bills paid. Right. I'm doing my thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And not worry about being so far along or so far behind. How
so
you
just
feel.
Take a step back. For that person worrying, take a little dose of a chill pill.
Yeah, a little breath, a little breathing exercise. Yeah. Might get into some yoga here on the next episode.
A little Tai Chi.
Yeah, but definitely take a step back and don't look too much into people being ahead of you.
I just feel it though. Like I felt it for a little bit, and I'm starting to like ease up a little bit. Like I just turned 27, and I'm like, you just sent that thing in the chat, and it was like that thing of SpongeBob running and Patrick running, and it was like 30's coming for you, and all the 1994 babies Patrick got snatched up.
That's like, gonna be me this year, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna be 30 this year, and like it is creeping up on me. But then I realize I'm sitting pretty good for what I'm doing. Yeah. Like I'm worried a little bit. Like you get worried because you see your peers doing different levels. But then again, I look around. I take a step back because I learned from like reading different books and reading different articles about stepping away from yourself and realizing that not everybody's just focused on you. It's not a full reality show. 24/7. Only
it's not
Leo,
like this national thing like this historic age to where like every company or in order to be accepted in every circle, they're like, by 30 you need to have this and this and this. It's like, when did that become the like the title? You know what I mean? Like why does everybody, like, it's universal.
I think it's a societal thing. Like everybody sees society, and the previous picture of like a middle-aged or a middle America family was 2 kids and a wife by 30. You had your career and everything, but now people are living longer. I think like if I was in the Middle Ages right now, I was supposed to be dead. You know what I mean? People are only living till they're 30 in the Middle Ages.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, you be a little old, bro. Yeah,
exactly. So it's changing, and I feel like this day and age, everything with medical advancements, barring any, I need to knock on any wood, but barring any like heart disease, brain disease, or anything like that, you can live well within your 80s, and sometimes even 90s.
Yeah, I mean, you was in the 1700s. Me, you, and the boys would be in nursing home, just
chilling,
playing ping pong right now.
Yeah, exactly. Donezo. I got scurvy last week. I'm on my last bed. The fleas be getting me. Yeah. So it's something to think about. You have to think about the perception of that standard of the middle America was like the 70s, which is now 50 years ago. So now 50 years in the future, some people aren't even settling down until they're like 40.
Yeah.
Like they're like, all right, I'm good. Like I'll have some kids or something like that.
Yeah. No, it's crazy because even like the even everything has changed from starting a family. Like it used to be like you need to do that like in like mid-20s, you know, like, and by 30 they need to be like growing up, you know what I mean, your kids and everything like that. But now it's a lot more laid back. But granted, there's a little bit of a clock, you know, like I don't know about you, but if you want to have kids, women, you know, they have a little bit of a clock. So I feel that too, you know what I mean? Like
worrying about the complications of childbirth, and that's understandable. And that's why like even the adoption is an idea too. I've seen a lot more people our generation's willing to adopt because of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm older now, I can adopt. Maybe I can even adopt an older kid that didn't get an opportunity, like somebody that's like 10 to 15 that like wouldn't normally be adopted, but now you're giving them a chance to succeed because of where you're at and where they're at. Yeah, which helps. I mean,
getting into everything, a little bit of everything, a little bit of kids, a little bit of career, you know.
Yeah,
well, a little bit of scurvy.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's the college experience. You know what I mean? You're getting into a little bit of everything because you don't know what you want to do yet.
Right.
Like you might have an idea coming out of high school, like, oh, I always wanted to be a firefighter, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm gonna go to school for, and eventually you're like, actually, I don't want to do this because I don't like science that much, or like learning about anything in that related field. So you switch.
So definitely, you know, I would say to the people that are pivoting or whatever, at least you're in that pivot. Yeah. Like at least you're like in that next step, and you're not in the step before it where like I just literally don't know what I want to do. But at least you're trying to look for new areas.
Correct.
You know, just become complacent. And that's the biggest thing I think is to not become complacent. And like for me, as far as getting like a finally got a job like in my field. My biggest thing was to like put out applications because for a while I was like, man, there's no jobs out there anyways. They're not even hiring, bro. Like I'm about to just watch this NBA game, you know what I'm saying? But like multitask or just prioritize, you know, like get those applications out.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. That's a bar right there. Facts. And that's basically it. Putting out the application is a shot. That's you taking a chance. And then the worst answer you're going to get is no, or let's get an interview and no.
And interviewing skills. How do you think your interviewing skills were? Well, you got your job off the rip, like off the first try, right?
Yeah, so. But any promotion was a little harder because I had to practice. I feel like interviewing is a lost skill, and it's something they don't really go over in schools. It's the same thing as like taxes or any of that, but interviewing, you definitely need that for any sort of job. I would practice over what today now we do a lot of internet video chatting. Practice interviewing that way. Practice in person. Practice standing up. Practice sitting down. Yeah. But a lot of times, read what the prompt is for the application, and you'll get an idea of what the questions are. Yeah. Have someone look up the questions and say, hey, be as stern as possible. I know if you like to joke around or any of that, be as stern as possible with me and just say the questions to me. Let me try to answer them. Let me work through them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like, know the job description really well, like you said, but also, like, there's resources out there where if you look up questions, interview questions, like, a lot of times they are pretty on point. And, like, one thing I noticed that every interview question that I got was like, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
They want to know.
You know what I mean? So some can be a lot of them could be, start off being laid back. They just want to get to know you. So, know the job description, but also just go in with the mindset of, like, tell them a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, and it's like now sitting on the other side of the table as well. That point that you made as far as, like, tell us about yourself. Basically, we want to know what type of person you are. You want to make sure you mess with the team, if it is a team, and also the company's values. So you don't want to, like, the person on paper might look nice, but if they're in there and they're like, oh yeah, I like to cause drama, I I like to fight with people, or you look at their resume and it says different job every single month, and you're like, hey, tell me about this job, and they go, oh, the team didn't mesh well and me and management didn't see eye to eye, so I decided to change. And then they go, and then you look at the next one and you go, hey, what about this one? We see that you worked for about a month there. And they say the same answer. Oh yeah, the team didn't really mesh well. And I didn't see eye to eye with management. Then you start to think a little bit like you it sounds bad, but sometimes the interviewer, you only get that 10 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on, or 10 minutes to an hour, depending on how well your interview is with that person, and they get to make a decision on whether they can hire you or not. And you have to think about the other candidates as well as this person in front of me. Are they going to be a good fit for my team, and are they going to produce on whatever level they're supposed to produce at? And sometimes that can be nerve-wracking too for the interview.
So, if you like to party a lot, maybe don't just say that and tell me about yourself.
Yeah. Or maybe wait until like your first month into the job. Once you get hired, then you just gradually, as long as you show up every day, I'm pretty sure they're good.
But yeah, man. I think that's all we have for today. We appreciate y'all tuning back in to Beyond the Surface. Be on the lookout on all socials for more episodes and content coming out soon. And yeah, go be great.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe. We'll see y'all.